I would like to read from a short section of In Love at Ease. This was a book gifted to me by one of you who wanted to share with me some moments from Pramukh Swami Maharaj, whom I didn't know about until really I started reading this book. He was someone, as the title suggests, that was in love at ease with every moment. And I'm hoping we can learn from him together. Here we are looking through his devotees' eyes. He was a guru and president of a really big spiritual organization that I hadn't heard of called BAPS Swami Narayan Sanstha, that revolves around the devotion of a particular being in the 19th century known as Swami Narayan. But this book isn't about him or the organization. It's about how this past president was really in love and at ease with everything. So where did we stop today? Let's see. Yesterday. Being eyeless. In chapter 3, this section's about indifference. And hello, small fries and a shake. And hello, Talon. Map, you like my hat, Wolverine. And Donsuela. And hello, Auntie. All of Swamishri's interactions in this chapter illustrate a certain flexibility in Swamishri's preferences and lifestyle. He could make anything work. He was indifferent to luxurious offerings, basic arrangements, or difficult living and traveling conditions. To Swamishri, the differences between a ride in a rickshaw versus a Rolls Royce, or staying in London versus a small village without electricity, was inconsequential. This indifference was the key to his eyeless presence. Eyeless referring to not this eye, but this eye. The eye of the ego. The sadhus and bhaktas, the monks and devotees, celebrated Swamishri's 59th Janma Jayanti, birthday, celebrations in a place called Rajkot. Their guru had been invited to meet Manohar Singh Jadeja, the son of the former ruler of Rajkot, at Ranjit Vilas Palace on the following day. Swamishri traveled in a Chevrolet Impala offered by one of the town's leading traders, Malviya Sheth. On his way back from the palace, Swamishri noticed the chauffeur of the car was tense. Swamishri was about to ask him why when the car came to a stammering halt. Swamishri realized what had happened. The spiritual master was stranded on one of the busiest roads of the city because the chauffeur had forgotten to refuel the vehicle before the trip. The chauffeur was worried. What would he say to his boss? Swamishri gently placed his hand on the chauffeur's shoulder and said, "Do not worry. Go refuel the vehicle, and I am going to take a rickshaw to the next Padramani. I'm still learning my Indian words. A Padramani is when a spiritual master comes to see you rather than the other way around. So I was going to see some of his devotees at their house. You can meet us there. So, we are not late for the rest of the Padramanis. I have to head to Bhadra later this afternoon." The chauffeur tried to resist. "Swamishri, please just wait here for a few minutes. I will run and get some fuel. It will be embarrassing for us to see you get into a rickshaw." Swamishri was calm yet determined. "Embarrassing? Why? The point is to get to where we need to go. How I get there is irrelevant." Swamishri jumped into a rickshaw and arrived at his next destination. Bhanubhai was waiting for Swamishri and was surprised to see him climbing out of a rickshaw. "Guru, Why didn't you tell me? I would have come picked you up in my car." Swamishri asked him to pay the rickshaw driver the fare and continued with the rest of his morning as if nothing had happened. Bhanubai was in awe at the sight of Swamishri's birthday being celebrated in front of thousands the day before, him returning from the palace as an invited guest, to now him climbing out of a rickshaw. A rickshaw is this little three-wheeled vehicle that's very popular in the Middle East and Asia and especially India. Nowadays they have auto rickshaws that have a little motor at front. While he was not surprised that Swamishri would willingly ride in a rickshaw, he was surprised by how effortless it seemed for him to do so. For all his world travels, Swamishri quickly acclimatized to India's most rural villages. Swamishri was traveling from Goa to Mumbai by car. Baba Kadam lived in Mumbai but wanted Swamishri to grace his rural village of Jamge, there, I think that's right, Jamge, near Ratnagiri en route. Swamishri could not refuse his loving request. Swamishri left Goa at 6:30 p.m. with the plan to grace the bhaktas, devotees' home by midnight and rest there for the night before leaving Mumbai early next morning. However, the roads to the rural villages were non-existent. Swamishri and the sadhus' 3 cars reached the village at 4 in the morning, nearly falling into several ditches along the way in the dark of the night. Baba Kadam was excitedly awaiting Swamishri and the sadhus' arrival. He welcomed them into his modest home, which was no bigger than an American king-size mattress. There was only space for 1 person in the home. The sadhus quickly laid out sheets on a small cot. Swamishri laid down on the cot and looked up at the ceiling. He noticed that several rags and cloths had been tied together to cover the holes in the thatched roof. Just as Swamishri closed his eyes and turned on his side to sleep, one of the many rodents rummaging above the tied rags urinated on Swamishri's cot. The sadhus were disgusted by the sorry state of the shack, but Swamishri was unperturbed and otherwise occupied with Baba Kadam's love. He asked for the sadhus to change the sheets and to bathe. He would rest for a few minutes and then join them so that they could leave for their next Padramani at dawn. Gyan Priyadas Swami's voice still shakes today, almost 40 years since the incident, when describing the dangerous trek Swamishri endured to get to the village and the condition of that home. Everyone in the group was upset with Baba Kadam for his invitation, but not Swamishri. When they finally left that village a few minutes after dawn, one of the sadhus commented in the car, "What a far cry from the accommodations you get in the cities of India and the West." Swamishri did not entertain the conversation. "Did you see that bhakta's love? As for the shed that bothered all of you so much, you only notice the difference when you think about it in the context of the body and mind. The Atman, the true self, is indifferent." Swamishri had refined tastes, but he had no desire for luxury. He knew the distinction, but it never influenced his choices. When bhaktas brought him something worthy of his station, he immediately reminded them of his sadhu vow, his monk vows of simplicity and detachment from material pleasure. He often urged bhaktas to return expensive, daily use items and donate the cost difference between the luxury brand and the wholesale brand to one of the organization's religious or humanitarian project. This lack of desire was the result of his indifference. One afternoon, several youths brought a beautiful writing instrument for Swamishri. It was truly a piece of art, including the packaging itself. and the cost was in line with the pen's splendor. The young adults had pooled together their savings to buy this fancy pen from one of London's premier shops. They knew that their guru responded to thousands of letters every year and wanted to gift him a pen that he could comfortably write with for hours. They offered the pen to Swamishri after sanctifying it with the sacred murti image of his Ishta Devata, Hari Krishna Maharaj. Swamishri lovingly accepted the gift and then offered it back to Brajesh Patel and the other youths. If you really want to make me happy, I would appreciate you returning this gift and buying me 200 pens of the model that I use so I can take them back for the 200 student sadhus at the monastic training center in Sarangpur. If I can give all of them the same pen that I use, I would truly feel satisfied. One of the youths protested, "But Swamishri, that is such a simple pen. We want to gift you something nice." Swamishri shared invaluable perspective. "Child, I have written hundreds of letters with this pen. It works just as well. A sadhu needs no more than what works. If I can share these pen with my young sadhus, I would be elated. Will you do me that favor?" The youths could not refuse. They returned the expensive pen and ordered 200 pilot V7 pens for the sadhu centers. Sadhu students, I should say. When someone urged Swamishri to use the organization's money to travel through better modes or purchase a comfortable car, he would remind them that the money was donated by bhaktas to God and not to him. Once while traveling in Anand in 1994, Bhagwat Charandas Swami was touched by the lines of bhaktas on either side of Swamishri's car. They showered the car with flowers while trying to catch a glimpse of their guru. Swamishri smiled at them with folded hands, almost bowing to them and relishing in their darshan, their presence, from inside the car. Bhagwat Charandas Swami interrupted the moment and said, "One day you will have a helicopter and these bhaktas will gather for your darshan." Swamishri cut him off mid-sentence. "Stop dreaming about the world's material pleasures and prepare yourself to be worthy for God's bhakti and seva, loving devotion and selfless service, particularly towards His creation. Use whatever God sends your way for His service and for His devotees. Do not desire more." Swamishri's sentence silenced everyone in the car. This was a pragmatic mantra for eyeless engagement with worldly object. Bhagwat Charandas Swami enjoyed playful banter with his guru. "Fine, we do not need a helicopter, but you definitely need a bigger car. This one is so small, I have trouble getting in and out." Swamishri immediately responded, "The car is fine. Why not cultivate your health and fitness so you can climb in and out effortlessly? Why not cultivate your mind so that you are satisfied whether you have to sleep on a dirt road or a silk-covered mattress? Sadhus do not need more than what God provides for us. Our personal needs are irrelevant. Bhakti and seva, loving devotion and selfless service are all that matter." Bhagwat Charandas Swami was silently making a mental note of the practicality and spirituality of using what is given and necessary without desiring and overspending on luxury. Though Swamishri accepted offerings from his bhaktas, his devotees, he was just as comfortable without them. Indifference was a key element of Swamishri's engagement with the material world. And we'll pause our reading of In Love at Ease there for now. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's lovely to reflect on a being with such eyeless indifference. Beautiful. So thank you. Jai Swaminarayan.